Good morning, everybody. We're going to give it a few more minutes. People are still popping in. Then we'll get going. If any of you don't see your full name, could you go ahead and put your full name in chat? Your professors are having us take attendance, and so then that way I know who everybody is. Like occasionally we've got one iPhone. Every so often I get, like somebody's iPhone or something, and I have to guess on a student that might have signed up. So again, if you just put your name in chat, if your full name isn't showing up. Okay, again, people are still coming in, so I'll give it a few more minutes, a couple more minutes, but I will get you out of here.
I haven't even been able to start.
Okay, the dinging in is slowed it down a little bit, and I want to get you guys out of here so you can get back to studying for midterms and things like that. Everybody, I assume, can hear me because you've followed my instructions there. Thank you for everybody with your name in the chat box. I think what we'll do, we've got a pretty good group, but let's try with questions. If anybody has one, go ahead and take your mic off and ask it. If it seems to be getting out of hand with, where we're not being able to cover a lot of work of the material I need to cover, then we might pull back and say, hold the questions till the end. But in the meantime, let's just try it this way and see how it goes. Anybody who doesn't see, I'm sort of repeating myself for folks who chimed in earlier, but if you don't see your full name, if you could add it, sometimes I have just first names or just iPhone. So I need to make sure that because your professors are taking attendance, I get all your names. So let's get going. I'm going to share my screen. Can you all see the Westlaw Edge landing page? Cool. Awesome. So I'm using Westlaw today, not because I prefer it over Lexis. They're both great products. It's just that to be going back and forth between the two would just take time. Both of them do the same thing. You'll find the different products and features in different places. You can always let us know or talk to your Lexis rep if you can't find it in Lexis. Or again, if you need a refresher Westlaw, just contact me or Chris or Nicole, the other law librarians, and we'll get you going. So today, this is researching annotated statutes online. It's a lot the same as print, other than print, of course, duh. You've got the book, and make sure you check those pocket parts in the back. But you'll see the statute, the notes of decisions follow. That's the annotated, the secondary resources or sources part of it. So this workshop is going to assist in you in locating and updating known statutes, knowing they're still good law, and identifying statutes by citation, name or subject, and finding cases and analysis from the annotated part, which is like those research tools where you're here to become more efficient, learn about and become more efficient about. The initial step in approaching any research project or research question is determining whether there's an applicable statute. And if there is, I mean, find it, go there first, and use those annotations to further your research. Legal treatises, law review articles, and other secondary sources are often will often indicate the controlling statute in an area of law and are good starting places also. So if you find a great resource, a journal article, you know, too often we just see people type in that search bar. You've heard us say this so often, and start reading cases. And that's not where you want to start. Unless you have a case, a citation, you're looking for that specific case, and then that's your starting point. But so I know many of you, you know how to, or you're just like throwing a citation in the search bar. If you do it right, based upon how Westlaw or Lexis recognizes it, it'll pull right up. It isn't just part of your results. So in this instance, again, I know many of you have been doing this, but just in case, MG, so Massachusetts General Laws, chapter 277, section 63. I could have used the section symbol here too, if I wanted to. And again, because I'm putting it in as Westlaw recognizes it, it pops right up and you're not having to filter through out of results on the left. Now, how you find out, again, Westlaw Lexis, that the way I put in that statute will work in Lexis, but all states, it doesn't work between the two. And between the two, you have to see how they've posted them. And I'd like to show you an example of this. Yeah, and we might want to turn on mic off if you don't have a question. I'm hearing some background noise coming from someone. Sandy, could you turn off your mic? We're getting a lot of like feedback. Really quick before I go over and show you how to do templates. I want to give you just a few, again, what you can quote from, what you shouldn't be. You're seeing a lot of stuff on this page. If you opened the book, you would see a ton of print. So this is the actual statute title with the section number there also. And this is all the language of the statute. That's all you should be quoting from. Don't quote from like the notes of decision, where it's summarizing things and sending you to cases. That's not your primary law. That's the annotations. You always want to check the currentness of the statute. This is a short one, so we can see on the screen the currentness, but current through chapter 14. So this, a recent session. So we know this is pretty good. You always want to check that if you're using now Westlaw and Lexis is pretty good in getting things up there right away. That wasn't always the case, but even if you go into like mass.gov or another state, a government site with the citations, you know, there's just a person or people who are having to do these updates. They haven't gotten them done, or they don't have a regular workflow that makes sure they get in as soon as something is enacted. And so often on gov sites, you'll find that it's not the most current. So you just have to make sure it's a legal malpractice. Of course, if you relied on old case law, or excuse me, case law. So that's a huge piece you really want to make sure you remember. Down here also in the credits, and later in this session, we'll get into the history of it more, but whether it's in print or online, you'll see right here, like the history of the statute, and be able to get some old versions of it here, right here. Again, going up into history, if you need to delve into that, will get you a lot more information that we'll review in a bit. So those are the main things. The table of contents, you can always click in here. I think Lexis right now has theirs over here. They're changing things all the time. So you're always having to find things with all their fabulous updates that just slow us down. You can also toggle within the table of contents from here to go back and forth between different statutes. Now, let's say I was given got a motion from opposing counsel. Of course, I want to pull all the everything they were relying upon right away, not just read their argument, make sure that they are actually applying the analysis of the statute correctly. And I was given this citation. So Kansas statute, chapter 21, 5107. And this is the way pretty much we put in Massachusetts general law. And it's taking its time this morning. Probably because it's, and I have a ton of different results here. Cases, statute, it didn't take me right to the statute that I wanted. And I'm going to have, and even that I have 51, and I can start drilling down by Kansas in jurisdiction over here. But if you just take a few minutes, both Westlaw and Lexis have templates. Go into the area of law. So in this instance, we're researching in statutes. So narrow it down as often as you can. You always want to do that. First ask, is there a statute? What jurisdiction am I in? What type of law I'm researching in? So your results, to really at the onset, try and narrow down those results so you're not drilling down from like 10,000 plus things. So I know I'm looking for a Kansas statute. I get into statutes, get down to Kansas. Here's your fine template, Kansas statutes. But even here, just to save time, I'm going to do it. If I put in 21S and the citation number, it's not going to work. Every template for every state is different, and I don't know how they want me to put it in there. And to save time, and no, it's not saving time this morning as I'm showing you this, I'm just going to click into anything from the table of contents, which I landed on immediately, saying I wanted a Kansas statute. And I see that they do it by chapter and citation number with a dash. In Florida, if I put a dash instead of a colon, I wouldn't get anything. So just take a moment to take a look how that state cites their statutes. So now if I use the template for 21-5107, it's going to take me right to it. So I'm not trying to find it through the table of contents or through the search results that it may not even have come up in. And why do you care about, well, your time, too much time in school, doing homework, and then trying and working and everything. When you're out of practice, you're not going to have Westlaw and Lexis for just like free unlimited use like this. We at the library are paying for it for you. You're going to be paying by whatever deal they work up with you or in your firm. So you don't want to be wasting your time that could be used and actually working the case up, or spending money unnecessarily on Westlaw charges. So just to be aware, they have templates, and they can save you time and money. Another cool thing I want to show you, you may not have landed upon yet, is in statutes and court rules, this 50 state survey. So there's many reasons, 50 state statutory surveys, excuse me. Many reasons why you'd want to use this. It'll identify and analyze statutory variances and similarities across jurisdictions. It's going to access laws across jurisdictions to help establish litigation strategies. Or caffeine, I'm getting tongue-tied. Access laws across, sorry, now I'm repeating myself, understand jurisdictional variances as they relate to compliance activities, refine a legal argument based on how jurisdictions have handled an issue, identify new and emergency policy trends, including immigration, cybersecurity, and more, and counsel clients on business decisions, such as where to expand operations. If they're making a particular product or wanting to provide different services, and it is regulated in a different way than here in Mass, in another state they want to go into, that's an analysis they want to have. They may choose not to open up shop in that state, or provide those services in another state because of the regulations, statutes and regulations in effect there that differ from their current business model. So let me just show you what this looks like. So whoops. In civil rights, for example, false arrest. And again, you can't quote from any of this. This is more analysis for you to gain a better understanding and knowledge. And so this is all stuff the Westlaw editors have written up, what the survey will cover. But here is where it gives you, for Alabama, all the way through all 50 states and territories, it gives you the statutes. So it gives you a good regarding false arrests as it relates to civil rights. There's Arizona, Arkansas, and it's giving you a summary so you know to go to this penal code as related to how it's defined persons and who's authorized to arrest somebody. So a quick overview, instead of, again, drilling through all those statutes, finding the chapter, you maybe think that you are, it'll be in based on subject matter and reading pages of it. Also, lots of time, like, okay, cybersecurity. Sometimes states are way ahead of other ones legislatively in developing the laws that are going to regulate. And you can go into other states who have developed it further and just see what the language is and argue or propose that to the court and, hey, we need to be looking at it this way. There's another way, I mean, rather than trying to drill down in these subjects to find if they've done a 50 state statutory survey on your issue, there's a way where you can take your citation for your statute and get it and see what other states have done with it. Right now, Westlaw has jurisdictional surveys up here on the right hand. Don't count on it being there like in a week. So they have it in their tools. And here it is, jurisdictional surveys. So in this instance, no, I know, see, they take a tour because it's new. They put it someplace different. They want to show you more features constantly. Okay, so in this instance, I want to look up arrest without a warrant, see what other states have to say about one of our statutes that deal with this. So MGL, and again in Westlaw, because I know a format of a statute that it's going to recognize, I can plug it in. So Westlaw editors have created index terms, keywords that relate to this particular statute. And whoops, I want to look at other states in relationship to arrest without a warrant. Create the survey. Gives me a result. I can click into different states. And let's say I'm really only interested in Mass and Connecticut, just so I can drill down a bit more. And here it gives you all the statutes in Connecticut and then Massachusetts that relate in some way to arrest without a warrant. So you're not, again, trying to go through the table of contents, a great resource, but it can take some time. When you have this tool, you know that you are being led right to them. Okay, so that is a huge one that lots of times students and even practicing attorneys don't realize is there. Okay. Let's, I know you all really are moving along in Westlaw and Lexis using your keywords. Take a minute always before you start again and decide like what keywords, how do I know that are the courts of the legislator referring to something as, like statute of limitations maybe, or something. Take that moment before you just start typing to think about that. And if you don't know, then pull out and go to a secondary resource and learn a little bit more about that area of law, so that you're not just like blindly throwing words out there and spending hours trying to get someplace. So, but I'm going to, I know in this instance, again, I want to know what the statutes of limitations for murder is, for example, in Massachusetts. So I know it's a statute. I'm going to save myself time, get right into statutes. Here is, even if I'm not sure on jurisdiction, or I don't want to limit my jurisdiction at this point, I can go down here to criminal law. I know that's the area of law I'm dealing with. Murder. And here, then this shows me, takes me right to, okay, what title criminal procedures is for the feds. And on down to, for all my states, and I'm looking for Massachusetts here. Criminal punishments and proceedings in criminal cases, and it's entitled for a Mass General law. So now I've limited my search in Mass statutes to just part 4. So that's going to, again, narrow my search to right exactly where I need to be. I'm going to put statute of limitations in quotes because it's commonly a common legal term. Otherwise, if I didn't, I just typed statute of limitations, it's going to pull back all results that include the word statute. Well, that's not going to help me much. And limitations. Too many. So in this case, I'm putting quotes. You can always start with quotes. And if that particular state doesn't recognize that legal term, they're not writing their statutes using that legal term, then you can back up and do it without, or pick different keywords. I use and because I want to make sure my next word is included. Westlaw defaults to or. And again, so my search results would have shown up with everything regarding statute of limitations or murder, the whole list of them. Hopefully with relevancy, what I want is at the top, but this way I'm controlling more the results. Yeah, something else is updated. We got it. Okay. And because I prepped for this thing, and I know this is a statute I want, limitation on criminal prosecutions, and we'll open it up in a second and you can see that it's where we wanted. It's been highlighted because this is the 5th time I've taught this in 2 days. 4th time, 2 more to go. So jurisdiction, I've already narrowed it down to Mass, but had I been searching more broadly, I could maybe narrow it down at this point. I just want to make you aware that at when you get your results, which I got several, that this is where I could weed them out a bit more. For example, if not in relationship to murder, but if I was particularly interested in an issue relating to a minor, I could then at this point, like, narrow my results by adding minor into just these results and see what I got. Great tool in both Lexis and Westlaw. So one other thing quickly before we go into this statute. It defaults to relevance. It's not a Westlaw and Lexis relevance results aren't as great as Google yet, but they have gotten so much better than over the last just very couple, 2 or 3 years. But you may be more interested, just be aware that like what's most cited on table of contents, depending on your research, what you're researching. Okay. So I want to now use this statute. This is the one I need. Indictment for murder. may be found at any time after the death of the person alleged to have been murdered. That's my statute of limitation. Then this particular statute goes into also the statute of limitation in relation to a lot of other crimes as defined in these different statutes. So let me just, as we're, now we're going to look at this and like, how can I take the annotations to research further here? So we want to use our key site. Key site this in Westlaw, it's Shepherd over in Lexis. We've got a flag here. I want to be aware of them. I don't want to assume, you keep hearing us say this. I don't want to assume that if it's a red flag or a yellow flag that I shouldn't be using it, or it might be bad law. Yes, it might be with red, but you need to understand why. And what Westlaw, what they do is put the most negative treatment here. So at least the most negative, that doesn't mean all the negative treatment. So you don't want to necessarily rely upon that. In this case, it's proposed legislation. I'll click on the flag and see what's going on here. So 2021, we've got all these outstanding bills, a Senate bill here, House bill, another Senate bill. All these bills that relate to this statute. So if this is a relevant statute, sorry about that. If this is a relevant statute in your case, you're going to want to know what's out there, what our elected representatives are doing right now, and also keep an eye on when it gets enacted. If one of these bills get enacted, that becomes the new law on the enactment date. So you have to, it'd be malpractice not to check what's going on, at least keep an eye on it. And then also as citizens, and you guys y'all are going to be, attorneys, practicing attorneys, as citizens, to know what's going on now in a statute that you are working with, dealing with. One bill may just be, something you totally don't agree, which is as to the direction that we should be heading. So that you could contact your legislator and say, hey, not this one over here looks great, or even put yourself in a position, why, and I'm an attorney and this is my interpretation and why I think we should go this route. And then also maybe you're the person that should be testifying in relationship to this bill. So put yourself out there. So back to the flag. For statutes, the flags are different than for cases. A red flag indicates the statute's been amended by recent sessions law, repealed, superseded, or held unconstitutional or preempted in whole or in part. So just because there's a red flag on this, it could be that maybe this part of the statute, the number of years as related to indictments for conspiracy to commit is what's being changed. But your indictment for murder stays the same. So don't look at that red flag and think it's bad law. You need to click into it and see what's going on. The yellow flag can indicate that the statute's been renumbered or transferred to in a recent sessions law. And let me show you what that means. In history, come on. So this law, statute 1836, was the first time it was enacted. We use MGL now, Massachusetts General Laws, the official statutory version. But mass laws were called different things. Rule of law in 1902 at different points. So this gives you the history all the way back to when it was first enacted. And as you go farther, what it does is it tells you what's been changed. Like this approved in 87, rewrote the section, which prior to, it gives you the language, what it used to say. And so now you can review and see where the legislature went in changing the law, and you get a better idea of intent and what was enforceable at that time. Get back to, so an uncodified section. So uncodified versus codified. Forgive me if you've heard this before, but legislature, Congress is in session now. They're passing laws. So things that are uncodified, we have in Mass and federal court, federal legislators and many other states, but not everybody, calls it statutes at large. So as things are getting passed, they're put in chronological order in print as they're being passed. And I say print, you can get this online too. Then once a year, things are printed, those pocket parts in the back of the statutes, for example, they're getting printed. And then that statute or that bill that was enacted gets put into the table of contents where it should be. Either it's replacing, it's revising, or it's been being added to. So it's your responsibility as attorneys to make sure you know if a statute's been revised or a new one's out there that is relevant to your case. Like cybersecurity, for example, wherever in the title, they would just add another number at the bottom or wherever they think it should fit in. So at that point, it's codified when it's being printed in the order that it's passing. That's uncodified, and you're responsible to know those are out there. It's limited. So the yellow flag again for the third point is limited on constitutional or preemption grounds, or its validity otherwise called into doubt. And a prior version of the statute received negative treatment in the court, but as the statute reads now, it might be okay. So that was, if you need any clarification, again, just ask or come in later as you're faced with something in one of your cases or statutes. So let me go through a few more things that are great resource tools. Get back into history just to get past that. You've got bill drafts. These were the bills that were actually got enacted. And if you see here, the last one, 2011, it'll give you the language of that bill if you need it for to determine legislative intent. But you'll remember that it was the last amendment. There's your bill, and effective. That's when that 2011 bill went into effect after it became law. Citing references, phenomenal, great resource. A reason why, again, if you know that your research is whether or not there's an applicable statute relating to your research, go to the statute first, because here you have all the cases that have cited this statute. So then that's a group of cases you'll want to look at, not just throwing something in that search bar initially and trying to find all cases that dealt with the statute from a general search. We're going to get into notes of decisions in a minute. I just want to point out this column that, like this case, relates to only the kidnapping portion of this statute. So you're not going to probably, if you're dealing with statute of limitations on murder, some issue relating to that, you're probably not going, you aren't going to waste your time looking at the one regarding kidnapping. We also have, we can, from this point, get into secondary resources, appellate court documents. Court documents, I want to go to the secondary resources, which is where they've got the context of an analysis also. So that gives me all of it and in a format that I work with better. So you've got law reviews and journal commentaries. People like, why would I be looking at a law review when I should be reading cases? Lots of time, again, these are academics writing about an issue in law, and they're giving you their analysis or summarizing analysis. They're discussing at certain times why they think it should be written differently. All these things that can inform your argument. And it will also lead you to the primary cases and law, primary law that they're relying upon for their analysis. You've heard in some of our workshops and from some of your professors about how phenomenal legal encyclopedias are. They're different, far more in depth than the encyclopedias you grew up with, writing your little report in the old days before law school. So ALR, American Law Reports is one, and the other one is American Jurisprudence, both phenomenal. So it just gives you an overview of particular areas relating to limitations in criminal prosecutions. And also gives you this primary legal sources that they're relying upon. A great tool for understanding and to lead you to other things. Other cases and that are relevant for that argument. So treatises, here you are, and I don't know where you all are going to practice in Massachusetts and Connecticut. Lots of states have great practice series. There for Massachusetts, those maroon books, as you walk into the library and head towards the Mass section, we have them right in front because they are an invaluable resource. If you're not keyed into them, I want to do that for you today. So this again is highlighting in Mass practice series, and here's another resource also, but where they discuss statute of limitations. And not only does it give you, it is in legalese, but you know, an analysis, a description that you can understand. And I say that you guys, you are all working towards that understanding and have it. It's when our pros says the folks who are representing themselves come in for help, they have a more difficult time often understanding what mass practice is conveying to us for a better understanding. So not only does it give you that analysis for your review, it starts plugging you in with footnotes with cases. Another huge thing before I quit my highlighting how awesome they are is they have forms, and you want to use those forms. Lots of times where I would be writing a motion, procedural motion, maybe relating, pulling from the statute language this is what I want, this is what I want the court to rule upon, and I'm plugging in the client's facts and then putting my argument in there. They'll have forms on so many things, not just statutes, motions relating to a statute, so that I don't have to start from scratch. So go there. MCLEs in Massachusetts is Massachusetts Continuing Legal Education. They also have a lot of great resources that give you an understanding of that area of the law, but tons of forms. Go there. Many states through their bar have these publications. Okay. Make sure I'm not forgetting anything before we get over to notes of decisions. And we've got a few more minutes. We've got time to cover this, and there's another few pieces. So notes of decisions, again, do not quote from these. This is the editors over in Westlaw or Lexis, depending on where you're in. They are here giving you, there are 63 areas of law that Westlaw editors have pulled out for, to narrow it down for specific research areas. Validity in general, retroactive activity, murders down here, number 5. I've got a couple the case upon that they relied upon, they pulled this quote from, so it takes you right from it, and it keys you into not only the case, but hey, this is what the courts have been saying about this. And you know, and your 1905 case, back when it was called rule of law, which provides, get you right to the heart of it. Also, just to remind you and get you back thinking about the key sites in Westlaw, Shepherd's has their own version. Both work, they both work great. This is where Westlaw has broken down all areas of law. Lexis has done it too in their way. Homicide, then getting into, you know, another category, subcategory, indictment and information. And then here is the key on occurrence, time, and place of death. That's going to have relevancy as related to the statute of limitations when charges can be brought. And this just gives you, again, tying you into the rules of criminal procedure, if that's relevant. Here you've got your cases that relate to this key, and I've already narrowed it down to Massachusetts. And of course, the Supreme Court would be the highest court over our mass cases. So anything that went up there included in here, I could back up at this point and use this key to find out what all states are saying about this. Okay, so that is, of course, and again, you're once you're in the notes of decisions, you can use those filters to like try and filter down more into what part of the statute are you particularly needing to research more about. So that is the meat of the core of like where you can take the annotations, whether it's in print or not online, and have it lead you to other law and an analysis of the law. I want to show you a few more features in addition to what I've showed you already, though, when you're researching using. So I'm trying to make sure I'm not skipping anything in my notes here. So in this instance, I want to show you, we're in the United States Code annotated. I've got, it just takes us right to the table of contents. I can search within the table of contents. Or click into any of these titles to expand it. And read those summaries of, well, at least by title. I can search, just within Title 2. Once I find the area, I'm repeating myself now from other things. Let me go on. Alphabetical, like the index is here. So if you had the back of the book, the index, you can search right here within the index. And if I use statute of limitations, it takes me right there. Note that limitations of actions is what federal, the legislature and feds have called it. Same as in mass. Statute of limitations is such a common legal term that it worked here, but this is where you'd want to start noting the different ways that they're being, different keywords or terms are being referred to. So in other searches, you're not limiting yourself in case another state is calling it something else. Oh, and I also want to show you one more popular name table. And that is, sometimes in your research, it'll say something act or a popular name of an act. Like if I put in something that is used politically as a positive or negative term, but within the media, like Obamacare, for example. So even though I didn't use the Affordable Care Act, I used even a term that's used out there in politics and the media. This brings me to the statutes, because there's several that regulate, that define that this act, the Affordable Care Act. So that is where I'm going to flip back so you can see this. Again, on that sidebar, it's the popular name table. So often we just see an act described. Anyway, and one other thing, because we are getting there, and Westlaw and Lexis both have it. Anything like we cover or your Lexis reps are covering out there for you or your professor. You've got training and support tools here. If we're not around, if you're home and it's late. And look, statutory research. These are videos and, printouts with screenshots, shows you right what to do. So I know as I'm going through things, it seems easy. It's like, or we know where it is right now, but then you can't find it or you can't quite remember what all I was doing. You've got great tools here to quickly find out, hey, where am I forgetting I needed to go to do this or that. So I know we covered a ton and I did it quickly, but I'm getting you out of here. We got 2 minutes. Does anybody have any questions? Let me stop my share. And if not, I'll stay on for a couple minutes to make sure I get all the names that went into chat, to match them up, and have a fabulous day. So, stick around if you don't want to say anything now, and otherwise come in anytime you want to. We're here for you guys, for you all. Okay, have a great one.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.